Yeah, overall this week I've been really impressed by Ben Duckett. Ben Duckett coming into form, Harry Brook, as you rightly mentioned, coming into form.
Only guy was Hardik Pandya who was trying to move along the pace, but it was simply not there. And yeah, that's how like India came to lose Rajkot T20 match. And I think it was just a timely reminder that they are not invincible.
But Rinku and Abhishek solidified the innings together, and then Hardik and Shivam Dube took it to a different level. That is what a Shivam Dube, a Rinku does for your team. Rinku is a genuine proper batter, and he deserves to be in the starting lineup. And on his day, Shivam Dube is just so big and so powerful and so massive that he can take out any bowling lineup on his day.
Lost his nerve in the end, did Michael Holding. And Lord Carr, chairman of the credentials.
They're running. It's got to be a direct hit. Getting back for two. That is the end of the match. Won the NatWest Series.
Areas. It would have been fantastic if it would have been 100.
In the air, Srijan takes it! India win! Dhoni finishes off in style. A magnificent strike into the crowd. Here we go, last ball to the outside, it's running through, it could be run out!
Wide, Muller gets it, and he gets plenty of it, does he? No! What a catch! Oh my God!
It's in the air, it's India who win the T20 World Cup after 17 years.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our channel Cricket Castaway. And today we are here. I am Divyansh and I am with Nishant to discuss what has transpired in the last two T20s, one at the Rajkot and the next one in my hometown, Pune. And unfortunately, due to office days, I could not watch it live, but it was a hell of a thriller that we witnessed last night. And really, really great match to watch, and what a close finish it was. And nobody hoped like India would turn it around like this. And we will discuss all of this. First of all, let's welcome Nishant. Hi, Nishant. How are you doing? And how's the weather in there, NCR? And what are your thoughts about what transpired yesterday?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for asking. The weather is now becoming a lot more warmer than it was last week. So I guess summers are starting to kick in. Uh, what a difference a week makes, because when we last recorded our episode, India was 2-0 up in the series, and then they lost the Rajkot game, and Pune, England, I felt this threw the game away in Pune because England were in the driver's seat. So if they would have won, this would have become a really interesting series. But as of now, the series stands. The Mumbai game is dead for me now. But yeah, overall, two really interesting games that we have watched in this past week. We'll go through them one by one, but yeah, overall satisfied with the cricket that we have seen in the past week.
Yes, yes, definitely. And we will let's begin with the Rajkot match. What happened in the Rajkot match, and how the game progressed, and how India managed to lose it. Like at the beginning, India was the favorite, and by the time the match ended, we saw a different side of the team that failed to like struggled on a pitch that was perceived to be such a batting paradise, and we were hoping of huge scores. So let's start with the
Yeah,
Rajkot match, and if you have some initial thoughts, and then we can take it
yeah.
from there.
Yeah. The initial thoughts are we were very critical of Ben Duckett and Livingston after the first two games, and it's karma. It had to come back to us. So in the third game, it was Duckett and Livingston who actually snatched the game away from us, because England at one point of time didn't look like they would score even a 150 kind of a score, but. they ended up managing 171, which I thought again was below par on the surface. But overall, the way England performed and the dramatic collapse of Indian batting order meant that England won that game and won that game comfortably. And after that, I would, in the hindsight, I would simply say uh, that in England batting is something that is just gaining more and more momentum. And as the time goes on, we go into the one day series and then the critical Champions Trophy. I think this team and the batters are all gonna be really, really threatening going forward because they are coming back to form.
Yeah, definitely. It's like the engine is getting warm, or the greasing is slowly kicking in, and by the time the Champions Trophy starts, it would be a well-oiled machine, and which will just blast away. Especially
Yep.
on the pitches of Pakistan, where like Harry Brook has been a menace. So I think this would definitely give them a kind of a launch pad for their main campaign, which is the Champions Trophy. And we also have a one day series after this, so they will get a flavor of 50 over cricket as well, which is the format that Champions Trophy is going to follow this time. So I think, yeah, it's a great platform. It's a great opportunity for English cricket to try all of their combinations in limited cricket, who can fit in the Champions Trophy scenario, who cannot. So yeah, they are just having a dream practice run here with
Yeah.
the India tour, and
Yeah.
especially like that's why I think some thought behind Duckett being an opener is also that like. In a T20 scenario, he might fail occasionally, but in a one day scenario, he will definitely get more balls to settle in and play a long innings, and that's the kind of guy Ben Duckett is. So I think
Yeah.
they are also keeping this in mind while sustaining with Ben Duckett as an opener.
Yeah,
And
I also think simply because he's such a good sweeper of both sides of the wicket. So, and they probably thought after 4 overs or 5 overs, India will introduce spinners into the mix. And if Ben Duckett is there at the end of the fourth and the fifth over, then he can take down the spinners because we saw in both the T20s, the third and the fourth. That the way he was just sweeping everyone and those are predominantly his scoring shots and he's very good at it. So yeah, it's a weapon that England have decided to use and Ben Duckett is using it really well. We were very quick to judge him after the first two games, but sometimes it's a humbling experience. But
yeah,
Yeah, overall this week I've been really impressed by Ben Duckett. Josh Butler keeps performing as well. Phil Salt needs to come into mix, but Ben Duckett coming into form, Harry Brook, as you rightly mentioned, coming into form. Though the T20 series is dead, but it poses a lot of challenges for India in the one day scheme of things. And talking specifically of the third T20, batting of England versus the batting of India was the key difference. The key difference. Also, we played Shami and not Arshdeep, which
yes.
I think also made a bit of a difference because Arshdeep takes wickets early on. But then in the fourth T20, Arshdeep didn't actually take wickets early on. So I think that cancels out itself. It's just the England batting that's getting more and more confidence
Yes.
and getting into the rhythm.
Yeah, as they are getting comfortable in the subcontinent environment, they are the chances that have been taken on guys like Ben Duckett, guys like Livingston, they are starting to pay off. As we saw in the Rajkot match, like Ben Duckett scored a fantastic 50, and also Livingston played a blistering knock of 43 on just 24 balls. So I think yes, they are now getting into rhythm, and it will go a long way in this ODI series as well as in the Champions Trophy. So They are getting familiar with the now they are playing more of a percentage cricket. Now they know what shot can work, what shot it will just not pay off. So that's how they are like kind of figuring out their game as they go. And Ben Duckett is the biggest example, 51 in this match, and in the fourth match at Pune, he also scored a 39, which was at a very good pace. So I think, yeah, Ben Duckett is also getting used to handle the spinners on these kind of wickets. So yeah, it's a good way for England to progress into the Champions Trophy.
Yeah,
And looking at the other batsmen, I think it was just due to the Varun Chakravarti spin web that he unleashed in Rajkot, like 24 for 5. It's just that's the reason they are restricted at 171. Otherwise, this game was going to get out of hands before even India step out to bat. So kudos to Chakravarti, but yeah, it was still a challenging total. But we were hoping, like with the intention that India chose to bowl first and then chase, giving the due scenario as well, they would probably chase it down, but it was not to be. So I think
yeah.
yeah, there is some question marks on the opening as well. I think Sanju Samson is now again facing failures repeatedly, and they have kind of figured out what the weak point is, and they are just bowling at his rib cage, the balls moving into his rib cage and gaining height as they progress. And Sanju Samson is like, it's like there is no way out for Sanju Samson. He just pulls it to try and get out of the ball's way and just swivels it down the leg side, and they already have a field placement for him there. So it's just kind of a Virat Kohli Boland BGT scenario that is playing out in the limited overs theme here in India. And I think, yeah, Jofra and Mark Ward, and even the new inclusion, the Bryden Cars,
Mahmood.
Mahmood, Bryden Cars, they all know this and they are minting it very, very heavily.
Yeah, I think the only person who is counting his blessings right now is Yashasvi Jaiswal because Sanju Samson in this series has made it clear that the future of opening is Abhishek Sharma and Yashasvi for T20 in India. Because now that you look back at it, if you look at the T20 career of Sanju Samson, it's probably only against Bangladesh and Sri Lanka that he has been performing honestly when it comes to the big matches against the better teams, against the likes of Australia, England, South Africa, New Zealand. In the T20 scheme of things, whenever Sanju Samson has got the chance, he has failed, which is a sad thing for me to say, simply because I'm a huge fan of Sanju Samson. I think in IPL he performs really well. He is such a brilliant player for Rajasthan and has been over the years. So has performed consistently in the IPL, but it's just the international. I think it's just one level above where he is unable to perform, and now I feel yeah, Sanju should get the opportunity in the fifth match in Mumbai. I wouldn't take that away from him, but overall he has now gotten two or three series to prove himself, and I think the way Yashasvi is batting, if Yashasvi has an IPL season like we expect him to have, I
Yes.
don't think there'll be any doubt that by the time IPL ends, Yashasvi would have been the solid number one player with Abhishek in the T20 setup.
Right. Very rightly said. It would be a tough path for Sanju Samson moving on from here, and he really needs to probably, if he can get a name-saving century or a good innings in Mumbai, then probably he still remains in the consideration pool. But yeah, he will compete with guys like Yashasvi Jaiswal. If he performs good in IPL, then he automatically replaces him in the pecking order for the upcoming T20 World Cup next year. So yeah, the odds are not very good for Sanju Samson, but yeah, right now even Pant's performance will also matter in IPL. If he plays well, then he comes as a wicket keeper batter, and
Yeah,
Yashasvi
and
replaces.
we have also we've been hearing news that Pant might also even open for Lucknow Super Giants, is what the
Okay,
news is around the circuit. So if that kind of happens, so probably even Pant is waging out his options. How can he get into the T20 setup, and the middle order is jam packed any which way? So Pant doesn't find his place in the middle order. So it's the opening spot. So I think let's see if Pant actually does open for Lucknow Super Giants. But if he
yeah,
does, then even Yashasvi will start having to think, because India need a keeper and Pant is a keeper, and India needs an opening batsman. And if Pant performs as an opening batter for Lucknow, then I think then Pant makes a strong claim for him to
yeah.
be in the T20 side. But yeah, I think it's the game of percentages. We have talked about it time and time again. T20 is, you will fail a lot more times than you succeed. But
Hmm.
look at the way Abhishek Sharma is batting. I mean, he has just put his name in the stratosphere. I mean, he does hit the ball every second delivery he faces. He's trying to go after the bowler, but
Yeah,
he's converting more than he is missing. And we've showered a huge amount of praise on Tilak Verma in the last episode, and he does in fact deserve all the praise that we gave him, and he has a longer rope than Sanju Samson. But I think Abhishek Sharma is, for me right now, of this T20 batting lineup, the shining light, because he is the one who changes the game from the top of the order, and he just takes on the bowler and he connects more than he misses.
definitely. And what an exquisite timer of the ball. Like I was looking at the highlights of yesterday's match, and the force that he played, the drives that he played
Yeah,
on the offside, like they were a treat to watch. And it's always kind of a, pressure release mechanism that that his boundaries work as, and like really he kind of breaks the shackles whenever there is pressure mounting up, there is a sudden fall of wickets. So Abhishek Sharma is always there, and yes, he has kind of cemented his place for now as an opener. And yeah, I don't see anybody replacing him really soon, until and unless there is a sudden downfall in his form. If he keeps playing like this, he is the opener for the next T20 World Cup. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. What do you think about Surya's form? I think it's a bit concerning now. Like,
yeah,
not having any score in 4 games is. I mean, this is the ultimate level, right? This is international cricket. This is T20 cricket. You do get a long rope, but not performing in an entire series is doesn't leave a good mark.
right. He gets starts. He hits two or three quick boundaries every time he comes, but he is not able to convert those starts into quick 30s or quick 40s or even 50s. So I think, yeah, there is something going on there, and probably in the mantra of expressing yourself, they are probably sometimes being carried away with the emotions that, yes, we can just right away blast out guys like Jofra Archer, guys like Mark Wood or Braden Cars. So I think there is a need of some caution mixed with aggression in the Indian lineup, just like what we saw in yesterday's match as well. Probably he would get a chance to rectify this in the upcoming IPL matches, and if he gets to his own self again on his home ground, Mumbai, I think then he's good to go. Otherwise, then
Yeah.
we are also looking at a question mark, a big question mark, like who is the next successor as an Indian T20 captain. Uh, it can't be Akshar because he has just been made vice captain, so he needs a bit of a more time. Then I think probably for meanwhile Hardik Pandya has to take the baton again. So
Uh,
let's see how his form goes, and probably he would get it out of his way in the upcoming IPL, and he would be ready
yeah,
again.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I
Surya
think
has time. Yeah.
that this yeah I think Surya has time. This I don't think there is a question about the captaincy till the next T20 World Cup. I think the team management has deliberated a lot before making him the captain, so he stays the captain. But it's just that I'm such a big fan. I mean, when Surya actually does perform, now that AB de Villiers has retired, for me, Surya is the best T20 batter in the world on his day. Like there's nobody uh, like and nobody can do what Surya does. Harry Brook comes very close, but I still think nobody is on the level that Surya is right now. But as you rightly said, it's picking your moments, it's picking your ball, which Surya has done over the years consistently, which I think because also he is very new to the captaincy. Probably they're all human beings, so it plays like you're the captain of your team. You need to perform in on the front foot. You need to lay the marker down, and that probably means that sometimes Surya gives him less deliveries that he should, because we know that if Surya is on the crease for 30 balls, he's scoring 60 runs.
Yeah.
That's given. But if Surya is staying on the crease just for 10 balls, probably he's scoring an 8 or a 9 and getting out, or probably even a 15. But a 9 of a 15 is a 15 of a 9 is not what we ask from Surya. What we ask from him is a 40 of a 20 in a T20 game, which is what Hardik has been doing. And uh, the way that his batting has come up through the last couple of years is commendable. So in the third T20, what we are talking about, I didn't. I thought that Hardik got stuck in a rut. He scored 40 of 35, which is very unlike Hardik.
Yes.
But the reason for that was that there was nothing coming from the other end. At a point of time, India hadn't scored a boundary for around 35-40 balls, and that's unheard of in a T20 game. But Hardik did just get stuck in a rut, and he broke out of it in the fourth T20, and I think he's performing really well.
Yeah, and there was also like not yeah, you correctly pointed out not enough support from the lower middle order, and repeated failures of Dhruv Jurel, and we already talked about this in our last video as well. Like Dhruv Jurel is really not working out in this T20 setup. We should have Shivam Dube. So
Yeah,
I think selectors were of the same opinion, the team management, and they did bring Shivam Dube in the next match in Pune, where it proved to be a critical cog in the whole setup.
yeah,
So yeah, so that's why sort of a multiple failures in the middle order led to India getting stuck and not able to chase it out, and they got bowled out. Only guy was Hardik Pandya, who was trying to move along the pace, but it was simply not there. And yeah, that's how like India came to lose Rajkot T20 match. And I think it was just a timely reminder that they are not invincible, and they also have some chinks in the armor. They have to work on some things, and probably
yeah.
the playing 11 needs to be rejigged. So that's how.
Yeah. See, when we talk about these things, we're not actually very critical of the Indian side, because England is again a really top. I mean, who else? Like it's India, South Africa, England, New Zealand, Australia. These are the five teams that dominate T20 one days and tests in international cricket. So England is actually a very good side. Even if let's say India lose in Mumbai, though I think India will win, but even if they lose, they would have won the series 3-2. That means it's a very good series from a results point of view for Gautam Gambhir.
Yes.
So, overall, I think this has been a good series for India with, as you rightly said, a few question marks that have been raised, and the management and the players themselves need to find an answer to that. A collapse like the third T20 can happen. I mean, they got out for 145 in 20 overs, so it's not like they got out for an 80 or a 90. So it's not even that much of a collapse. It's just the batting lineup didn't perform to the best of their capabilities, which we are used to seeing. So Indian team just won the T20 World Cup. They've set the standards so high that when it doesn't meet the expectations, fans do end up criticizing, and it's only fair because we are again fans who spend a lot of time on these matches. We're working and parallelly watching the games in the background, so
Yeah.
that's true. But at least, as you rightly said, it's good to see that Shivam Dube and Rinku Singh have come back into the lineup, and Washi is the one who's gone out because we talked about this in detail in the last episode. How you don't need both Akshar and Washi in the lineup, and both Shivam Dube and Rinku Singh uh, have a place in this 11 because you see. So now moving on to the fourth T20. The first three overs we were 12 for 3. I mean, at that point of time, we were talking, and I told you the match has just gotten over before it has started.
Yeah.
I couldn't see any which way that India was getting 180. I didn't think that India would now get 180. But Rinku and Abhishek solidified the innings together, and then Hardik and Shivam Dube took it to a different level. That is what a Shivam Dube, a Rinku does for your team. Rinku is a genuine proper batter and he deserves to be in the starting lineup. And on his day, Shivam Dube is just so big and so powerful and so massive that he can take out any bowling lineup on his day.
Yeah, definitely. And the thorn in India's way to success, which was Adil Rashid, like the guy was giving like 20 runs, 14 runs in his quota of 4 overs, picking up a couple of wickets. That had to be stopped. And the best weapon against Adil Rashid was going to be Shivam Dube, as we discussed. And yes, he got. Sort of dropped on the first ball he faced, but then the way he handled Adil Rashid, like he completely took Adil Rashid on a bender and he just dismantled his line and length. The whole bowling plan that Adil Rashid had is in mind. Like he tried bowling some slower ones, some on the pad, some ball were pulled back. The lengths were slightly pulled back, but every time Shivam Dube had an answer equally destructive. He played a couple of pull shots on the balls that didn't bounce that much. They were really on the pads, and then he also bowled some loopy full ones just to entice him. And Shivam Dube took full toll on these kind of balls and just blasted them out of the park. So I think, yeah,
Yeah.
he is the weapon that really works wonders on his day, on especially on these kind of pitches against the spinners. So yeah, he did his job really, really well.
I think we're going to talk about it in detail in the coming minutes. But when Subhav Dube got hit in the head and the physio came, after that, he batted 2 overs, so he was actually not that concussed. So, so I think Indian team and the team management did England a bit dirty there. It was a bit of dark arts because I didn't think Shivam Dube was concussed because if he was, he wouldn't have continued to bat. The management wouldn't have taken that risk to make him stay in the crease for another 2 overs if he was concussed. And you can see what happened, right? Bryden Carr's bowled the last over, and before him, I think it was Jofra Archer who bowled the second last over. And
Yes.
it wasn't Shivam Dube. Shivam Dube was trying to hit the ball and like he's been doing. But the bowling, in fact, was actually very, very good, which restricted India to a score of 180. I thought, again, on this kind of a pitch, you have always said that Pune is a pitch where 180 can be chased easily, and I thought this was a pitch where 180 could have been chased easily, and England let it slip.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Because they only gave away 3 runs. Bryden Cast only gave away 3 runs in his last over, and it was just fall of wicket one after the other. So I thought we could have scored 10 runs more in that, but we lost Hardik Pandya at the end of 18th over, and that's where things started to fall off the wagon because Shivam Dube is a menace against spinners, but Hardik Pandya is equally destructive against the fast bowlers. And the way he took on guys like Sakib and Jofra Archer hitting sixes and uh, those delicious pull shots that he played, I think it was a treat to watch. Like 53 runs on 30 balls, close to a strike rate of 180. He really showed his class, Hardik Pandya, in this one. Like four sixes on the likes of Jofra Archer and Mahmood and even Braden
Yeah,
Cars. So yeah, he
yeah,
really pulled India out of the rut, and with Shivam Dube, they managed to get India to a total which is a fighting one, at least, if not
yeah.
the if not above par, but at least India had a fighting total because of these two
Yeah.
guys at the end of 20 overs.
Hardik Pandya is just full of class. I mean, there's no denying that. I'm just sometimes I feel sad for Indian cricket that he can't play the test matches. Probably it's his own choice not to play those because he is just supremely talented. The kind of shots that he hits, he's so wiry. I mean, there's not that muscle that Shivam Dube has in there,
Yes.
but his shots are equally long as Shivam. I mean, and he can manufacture shots. The uppercut that he manufactured in that T20 again, I mean,
Yeah,
and we have seen that time and time again. There is no bowler that Hardik cannot take down. And with the bowling skills that he provides to this team, I think. Yeah, for me, he is the best all-rounder, pace all-rounder that India has seen after Kapil Dev. Uh, Obviously, the best all-rounder overall. When we talk about, we'll have to talk about Yuvraj Singh. We'll have to talk about Ashwin. We'll have to talk about Ravi Jadeja. But in the pace bowling all-rounder category, I think there's nobody that even comes remotely close to Hardik. We hope
definitely.
that. We hope that Nitish Kumar Reddy or Shivam Dube develops into something like that. But at this point of time, the level on which Hardik's bowling is, I don't see any of these two reaching that bowling level. So, and the batting for me, I think on his day, Hardik can be the best batter in this India side period. I mean, on par with Surya Kumar Yadav and Abhishek. I mean, Hardik is just supremely good.
Definitely, the way he holds his shape while playing those pull shots and the uppercuts, that's the key for the success of those shots. Because we have seen guys like Rishabh Pant and also Sanju Samson trying those kind of shots, but they are
Yeah,
not able to. They lose their shape along the
yeah,
way. Along the way, when they are
yeah,
playing shots, like
yeah,
Rishabh Pant falls over. Sometimes it's the power generated that takes the shot to the boundary, but the actual mechanics that if someone has perfected with that kind of a wiry framework is Hardik Pandya. The
yeah,
way he slaps the balls that are at a shoulder or a chest height through the mid on or mid off, it's just because he is able to hold his shape throughout the
yeah.
flow of the shot, and that's why he is such a good hitter in this format, and that's the reason of his success. So
Yeah,
we got
it's
to cherish
also
him while we have him.
yeah, yeah. It's also a mindset and a belief in his abilities because
Yes,
he is much more consistent than any batter in the Indian lineup. He invariably performs. If it's a five-match series, he'll be performing in three out of those five matches in the T20. So he does end up performing a lot more than he doesn't, and because he has that other skill of bowling, that really adds up the flavor. I think Hardik is very very important and critical for this T20 side, and we did win that T20 World Cup due to a lot of contributions from Hardik. And
yes,
the next T20 World Cup that is happening in India, Hardik will be, if not the most important player, then the second most important player in this T20 side because I think by that time Jasprit would be playing in that tournament. So Jasprit automatically becomes the most important. But I think Hardik would be the second most important player for India going forward in T20s.
definitely. Probably we missed to talk about, but we can take 5 minutes for Mohammad Shami as well. I think they could have played him in this match. What do you think? Like Arshdeep
I
has
think again,
already done his job, so probably give him a longer rope. And are they
yeah, I
not
think
very sure about his fitness or what?
yeah, it's the same thing. What we talked about last time. I don't think they're sure about his fitness. I think his body, they feel that his body will break down because they gave him an opportunity to bowl in the third T20 and he did bowl his overs, but then why not include him? So see, the thing is you could have rested Arshdeep or you could have played both Arshdeep and Shami together. It wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, there is a place for two fast bowlers. Hardik is your third player. You probably then what you would have done is you wouldn't have picked Akshar in that situation. And then what that meant was your spinners were Varun and Ravi Bishnoi. Probably you could have gone with Akshar and dropped Ravi Bishnoi.
Yeah.
But I think if Shami was fit, um, the caliber of bowler that he is, you would bet on him taking more wickets than either Aksar or Ravi Bishnoi. So if on a full tilt in complete form, Shami starts. I think it's just the fitness that he is being taken care of. I think we'll learn a lot more when the one days start, and let's
Yes.
see if his body is able to bowl 10 overs. That's the next step. If he can play at least 3 to 4 of the 5 one-day matches, then I'll be a bit confident that he can last the entire Champions Trophy. If he can't, I'll be a lot more worried because we've been getting news that Jasprit Bumrah won't be the part of the ODI setup, ODI England tour because he's going to New Zealand to get some tests done for his body.
Yes.
He hasn't recovered 100% right now. So I think in that one day setup specifically, Shami is the leader of that bowling lineup and he needs to be a part of it.
Yeah, we have to assume, we can safely assume, in fact, that Jasprit Bumrah is not going to play the Champions
Yeah.
Trophy. That's almost very sure.
No, no,
So,
I don't think. I think he should play the Champions Trophy. It's the one day England one day series that I'm talking about. I think he can play the Champions Trophy. I don't think they. I think they will do everything possible for Jasprit to play the Champions Trophy.
but yeah, we will get more clarity on that. But if he requires a surgery and we are starting from 20th
Then
Feb,
we are done.
so
Then
so
we are done.
we can't have we don't have much
Yeah,
room to for him to get back. So
yeah,
we only have these three one days against England that are happening on 6th, 9th, and
yeah,
12th. So in the next probably 10, 12 days, we will get to know who is going to who will be our main leader of the pace attack. If Shami is able to play all these three one days and he's able to have a decent outing there, I think Siraj and Shami will be starting
yeah,
in Dubai International Stadium
yeah.
for India in
Do
the
you think?
Champions
Do you
Trophy.
think? Do you think India can cope without Jassi in the Champions Trophy? Like if we have a fully fit Shami and a fully fit Siraj,
Yes, yes, we can because spinners will have a great amount of role to play there. And we have guys like, I think if Kuldeep Yadav can make it to the Champions Trophy, Kuldeep and Varun Chakravarti and Akshar Patel, I think these three can wreak havoc in Dubai pitches. So I
yeah,
am hoping that this would be our bowling lineup. So
yeah,
along with Akshar, there are Kuldeep and
yeah,
Varun Chakravarti, or probably Ravi Bishnoi, depending on the pitch and the conditions and the opposition batting lineup, and
yeah,
led by Siraj and Shami. And Shami should be in his at his at least 90% of his peak to begin with in the Champions Trophy, because Siraj looks sort of uh, down and out from the BGT. So it would be the onus would be on Shami to keep the spirits up of the pace bowling setup, and then we can have a chance. Yes, we do have a
yeah,
chance if
yeah.
these guys can make it.
Yeah, I think, as you rightly said, if there is a slight chance that we are risking Jasprit for the Champions Trophy, then we shouldn't. I think, as you rightly said, we have enough resources to cope in Dubai. So the key factor here is Dubai. So if this Champions Trophy was happening in England or South Africa or New Zealand, I would have thought that no, we can't cope without Jassi. But in Dubai, where the pitches are slow and low and they're turners, I think we can cope with Jassi, so we shouldn't take any risks there. But again, the key caveat, as you rightly mentioned, is Shami at least at 90%. Because if Shami is not there at 90% and Shami doesn't play all the games
Yeah.
in the Champions Trophy, then you're looking at a combination of Arshdeep probably with Siraj, or a Harshit Rana with Siraj.
Yes.
I still would say that I trust Arshdeep at this point of time more than I trust Siraj. So I would still say that even with Arshdeep there, I would be fairly comfortable simply because of the spinners that we have. And it all depends on it all. I think Varun Chakravarti is going to have a great outing, and that is why I'm a bit more comfortable even if we go without Jassi.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So coming back to this series, I think brilliant performances from Hardik and Shivam Dube. But let's come to the chase part and where all the controversy happened, and we saw like Phil Salt and Brett Duckett give England a flying start, and then suddenly they lost 3 wickets in the matter of 10 balls just at the close of power play. And then again, Harry Brook and Liam Livingston were looking solid. They started to consolidate, and then came the controversial point of the match where Harshit Rana came as a concussion substitute in place of Shivam Dube. And I heard in the post-match presentation that I think Surya said that Shivam went in for drinks after the power play, and or somewhere in the near the end of the power play, and then he couldn't come back. So then we had Harshit Rana. So I think probably there can be two scenarios. Either they did England dirty, or it can be like sometimes the concussion symptoms linger for a longer period of time, and you see the after effects after after a certain duration. So probably he might be feeling dizzy or something. So it can be a scenario, but all in all, India benefited hugely from this because they got
I
a,
I I don't
frontline fast
question.
bowler.
Yeah, I don't question that if he was concussed or not. Probably if he was concussed, then it was the right decision to take him out. But yeah, it's just what happened afterwards. I mean, as we were talking, I don't think if I was an England supporter, I would be pretty thrilled with this. How can you allow Harshit Rana to come in place of Shivam Dube when you had Namandir sitting right there, who is much more similar to Shivam Dube than Harshit Rana is? I mean, you are replacing an out and out batter who bowls a bit with an out and out bowler who bats a bit. That's for me. That's not like for like.
Yeah, in hindsight, I think nobody objected to this when Harshit Rana came in because
No, they did.
base.
They did. Joss Butler did a lot of objections sitting from the bench, and he also reached out to the match referee, and he said that in his press conference as well. That after the post match, that he wasn't pretty impressed. And but yeah, I think when it's it's like Indian management and everything has become just too powerful in cricket right now. So what happens is what we decide is it's just that
But
I didn't like that.
I'm not sure whether this reaction came after Harshit got Livingston out or before that, because uh,
That's for me again that shouldn't really matter in this kind of a situation simply because it could have been the case that Harshit Rana could have gone for 40 runs in his 4 overs and it could have not taken even a single wicket. Even then, that decision would have been incorrect on principle,
yes,
which is
yes,
which is which is if let's say what is then next? I mean. Abhishek Sharma hits a 60 or a 70 in the field, gets concussed, is substituted by a Shami. I mean, that's not what it should be. Simply, I'm just objecting the principle of it, not
yeah.
what happened. So Harshit Rana, as you rightly said, even Kevin Peterson at the time of commentary was saying, and Nick Knight was saying the same thing. England would have probably liked the Harshit Rana to come in place
Yes.
rather than a spinner, because
Yes.
they are facing much more difficult times against the spinners. But
Right.
that's what you can say at hindsight. The decision itself for me was wrong.
Yeah, so it's a gray area. So India took advantage of this, and if India would have been at the receiving side, we would be making equal amount of noise, and England would be defending it with equal amount of vigor. So yeah, that's how the game of cricket goes on for sometimes. But yeah, it's also the fun of the game. But still,
Yeah,
England was in the chase, and they just had
they
to
lost
play.
this game.
Yeah, they just had to play out that last over of Varun Chakravarti with some sensibility. Just hit him around the along the ground and just take some singles. Let Chakravarti complete his quota of 4 overs, and then they could have easily chased it down. But I
Yeah,
think
I thought.
probably Harry Brook got carried away. He hit him for a four, scored his 50 on 25 balls, and then he thought, let's go all out now. So
Yeah,
that's where
I think
this
I won't,
started
I
crumbling.
won't, I won't really blame Harry Brook for it, simply because he was in such good form. And like, we have been in those situations, right? When you're hitting the ball so well, you think like you can take on anybody, and you should at that point of time. Why would you waste your form? So I think Harry Brook, I won't be that livid about. But yeah, Cars, I thought he should have at least played out, because he was very important. And what he did was he left Overton on his own,
Yeah.
which again then meant that the target became too much. I think that Varun Chakrabarti over again changed the game,
Yes.
and time again, Varun Chakrabarti is the one who is digging India out of critical situations, and he is having a terrific year and a terrific series.
Definitely, Cars could have played out Varun Chakravarti. He just came onto the pitch, and it was just his second ball that he tried to hit. And the run rate was not that required run rate was not that high that they would have to go bonkers on every ball they face. So I think it was just a little game sense was required to play out Chakravarti, and then they could have easily handled Harshit Rana, and even Arshdeep was going for runs. So there was plenty of opportunities that were available after Varun's quota of overs. So I think that's where they lost the match.
Yeah, they did. They lost the match in that Varun Chakravarti over, because I thought England were well in control of the game. They were in the driver's seat. They had Cars and Overton to come when Livingston and Brook were batting. And it wasn't that big of a target. It was a very good batting wicket, as Pune is. Uh, and yeah, with Harshit Rana coming to ball, the kind of form that Harry Brook was in, if we would have just negotiated, Varun Chakravarti got out of that over, I think he would have taken down Harshit Rana easily, because even in the previous over he had scored 18 runs off of Harshit Rana. So I think it was England's game to win. They lost not only the game but the series because of their batting fault, and not because of the controversial decision, I would say.
Definitely. And one guy who was flying under the radar till this match, he really performed well in this match, which was Ravi Bishnoi. He took 3 wickets for 28 runs, and his wicket of Joss Butler was, I think, a key factor where England kind of started
Yeah,
getting derailed. So it was really like the nail in the coffin, because they had already lost Phil Salt and Ben Duckett before
yeah,
that, and that that uppercut that Joss Butler tried to play off Ravi
yeah.
Bishnoi, and again the concussion substitute Harshit Rana took the catch. So that was a very pivotal moment, because Joss
Yeah.
Butler have been playing really well in this throughout this series, and at least contributing 20 odd runs. And I think the way he got out, I think that was really crucial at that
Yeah.
point of time.
I think the biggest problem with England is that they lost wickets in patches. So they were 60 for no loss, 62, I think, or 65 for no loss after the power play. Then in the next 2 overs they lost 3 wickets in a go, and
Yes.
then Brook and Livingston solidified it, and then they again lost 3 wickets in a row, which is what led to the downfall of England. While Salt and Duckett were batting, I thought it had really started to dew down, and the the ground was getting really wet, and I thought that Indian spinners won't be able to grip the ball at all. I mean, you would be the best person to talk about that, but I thought, looking at the TV, that there was a lot of dew, and
Yes.
Indian bowlers were not able to grip the ball. But then it's just the experience that India has in playing in its home condition, the bowlers specifically, that they found a way to get these wickets. But I would also say a lot of credit for giving the wicket goes to the England batters.
Yes, definitely. India played well, but it was England's game to lose. While they could have gone to Wankhede with a score of 2-2, they lost the series in Pune itself. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Can England take away from the Wankhede match? What could be their target to be achieved in the Wankhede match? Do they want to experiment a bit more? Do they want to try out the reserves, or would they keep the same 11 so that they get more practice for the one day series as well as for the upcoming Champions Trophy?
I think if Mark Wood is fit, then he comes back in place of Sakib. Though Sakib took a few wickets in the first spell, but again, those were Indian batters throwing their wicket away. Nobody
Yes,
expected Tilak Verma to charge on the first ball that he faced, or Surya to play the shot that he did. So
right.
I think Mark Wood comes in if he's fit enough, or if not, then they conserve Mark Wood for the one day series, and the lineup remains the same for me. I think Wankhede is a pitch that Joss Butler really loves. He has had the most T20 centuries there, and it's a fairly good batting wicket which England would love. But the only thing is that Indians love Wankhede a lot more than England does.
Yeah,
So yeah, it would be a game that it will be very hard for England to win. Uh, but I don't foresee a lot of changes happening in the England lineup.
yeah, yeah. Same. My thinking is also the same. And as Surya said, when Murli Karthik asked him what to expect out of one Khede, so he said a lot of fireworks. So probably we are going to
Yeah,
see a good innings from Surya on his home ground.
yeah.
Uh, Good homecoming, as we can say, and let's hope he clears all the doubts that are there
So
in all the cricket fans.
yeah, before we wrap this show up, as we were talking about homecomings, the homecoming didn't go as planned for the King again in the Ranji Trophy.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments for that?
Yeah, it was like it was really it was disappointing, but it was on the expected lines because if a person is in a bad form, he is in a bad form just by coming to his hometown, having the paneer chili of the canteens of the grounds canteen. It cannot turn things around for him. He might have relished all the old memories, and Shikhar Dhawan did uh, post a tweet about this that it was the most packed Firosha Kotla that he has seen in a long time in a Ranji match specifically. So yeah, it was good from the viewer's perspective, but from game's perspective, we could see that it would turn out more or less to be the same, and that's how it happened. He again went chasing outside off. This time he got an in swinger, and the wickets were there to uh, were
Yeah,
laying on the ground, and like it was a really disappointing thing to watch. And not even Kohli, like all of the other BGT test members also produced the same results throughout the Ranji season. Like Mumbai losing against Jammu and Kashmir in a Ranji match is not a sight, and with the likes of Rohit Sharma, Ajinkya Rahane, these superstars, and they couldn't do a thing against Jammu bowlers. So I think, yeah, it's kind of a shifting period for Indian cricket, and now it's time for the new age players to appear. And a lot was expected from guys like Rishabh Pant and Yashasvi, but they also couldn't produce good results. But they will get more time because they have age on their side. So I expect a lot more from Rishabh Pant and Yashasvi, and specifically Rishabh Pant because he has the X factor and he has been always seen as a player who can turn things around really quickly in Test cricket. So let's hope for a better future in Test cricket.
Yeah, I think Virat's meteoric rise was unbelievable, and his now the end stages are also becoming unbelievable at point of time because I mean, how can this happen to someone who is so supremely gifted and so supremely talented that he's getting out on a fucking Sangwan, man? Like, have you ever thought about Sangwan thinking that he would be taking a wicket of Virat Kohli in Ranji Trophy, that too getting him bowled on an in swinger, which is I've never seen Virat getting bowled on an in swinger like in. If it's not a Mitchell Stark for that matter, let me just put
Yeah.
it that way. So I mean, it's astonishing, but I think that's how fate turns. But yeah, that has probably sealed my idea even further that I don't think Rocco at least should be the part of the England tour going forward.
Yeah, probably yes, but it would be hard for the management to keep them out. But if they keep them, then I think it's farewell for Virat Kohli in the country where he's trying to set up his new home. So
Yeah.
probably kind of a
Yeah.
destiny or
We'll, we'll, we'll,
serendipity.
we'll, we'll see a lot more in the upcoming One Day series and the Champions Trophy. And fingers crossed, they do get their form back. But if they don't, even in the One Day and the Champions Trophy, and then some out of nowhere they start pulling up trees in the IPL. I've believed this for the longest time. IPL should not be the benchmark for international cricket selection. It
Yes,
just can't
yes,
be.
definitely. And at least not for the test cricket format, at
Yeah.
least the bare minimum they can do.
Yeah,
Yes.
one day matches coming just round the corner.
Yeah.
And yeah, we will be covering all of them. So please, guys, keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. And yeah, it's a lot of effort that goes into these things. And but me and Divyansh, we just love doing this. So yeah, we'll be here. Hope to see you there as well.
Yeah, same to you, and have a great weekend. And do tune in for tomorrow's match as the one Khede. It would be really electrifying, even if the even if it is a dead rubber, but there will be some things to take out of that. So we will see you next week, and do keep tuning in, subscribing, and commenting, and keep showing your support. Uh, this is Divyansh and Nishan signing out. Have a great day. Thank you.